What do you notice about my pronunciation of these words? Water, internet, hustle. Did you notice that the T isn't pronounced? Today you'll learn why Americans don't pronounce the T in these common words. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Let's start with water. 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 Do you see that shape under the T in the phonetic alphabet? This tells you that it's pronounced as a flap T. So it sounds like a soft D. Water, water.
The serene water.
A little more water.
Schools and clean water.
Because water is really the catalyst for any kind of creation.
Soap and water.
Our bottle of water.
Access the water.
In California, we don't have a water problem.
You may be wondering why water is pronounced with a soft D. The guideline is that a T between vowel sounds wa and then vowel sounds, the T becomes the flap T, which is that soft D, water. Someone could ask, would you like some water? The water is really cold. Let's review some more common words with a flap T. And don't worry about taking notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Let's review better, better, better. That soft D. Hot water is better for your digestion. Or I'd better put let's go in the comments to show Jennifer I like this lesson. Yes, you'd better do that, so make sure you do it now. You should know that Americans almost always pronounce the T as a flat T, even in formal situations. So let's listen to this TED Talk, which is a more formal situation.
And I got into it because I wanted to help people feel better.
One common word is butter. Butter with that soft D, butter, butter.
Rice is to add in either cold cheese, butter, cream.
Let's review city, city, city. I live in a beautiful city. Let's review pretty, pretty. My city is pretty. How about daughter? Daughter, that soft D. Now, you may look at the spelling and notice there's a G-H-T. That's not a vowel, but the rule for pronunciation is always based on sound, not spelling. So the daw is an aw. That's a vowel sound, and then we immediately have the T and then another vowel sound. My daughter. That's why this word has the flap T. My daughter moved to a new city. Notice, dis. I noticed you added butter to your water. That's weird. Let's review this word, tomato. Tomato.
It's pomodoro, the tomatoes, the tomato sauce, olive oil, and I think that's it.
Thinking about tomato, listen to this pronunciation. Potato. Potato. So notice what's happening here. I'm only turning the last T into the flap T. I'm not saying potato. I'm not saying day. I'm saying potato. You have a strong T when the following vowel, A, is a strong sound or a stressed sound. That's why we have potato. Let's review some other common words with a strong T between vowels. So in this case, Americans do pronounce the T in these words. Attend, attend. I attended the party. But notice party.
Well, I invited him to attend my son's birthday party.
Let's review attack. We prevented the attack. Attempt, attempt. You definitely hear that that strong T. We attempted to prevent the attack. Eternal, eternal.
When they could become part of an eternal reality.
Retire, retire. When did you retire? Detail, detail.
At scale, there's no such thing as a small detail.
Italian, notice that Italian. My new student is Italian. But let's look at this sentence. My new student is from Italy. This may annoy Italians because Americans take your beautiful country name and we say Italy, Italy, Italy. This is because the vowel after Italy, it's unstressed. But the vowel after Italian is stressed. Listen to this sentence with both. My Italian student is visiting his family in Italy. Italian, strong T. Italy, soft D. Sorry, students from Italy. Now let's review this word, internet. Did you notice my pronunciation? I definitely said internet. The guideline is there's a dropped T. You don't pronounce it at all. Notice it's not a soft D. It's not a flap T. You just drop the T. You get rid of it in an NT cluster. Now let's listen to a clip where there's no T. So you'll hear internet, internet.
It's been hypercharged through the internet.
Now let's listen to a clip where the speaker pronounces the T. So she'll say internet, internet.
That's almost half of the internet population.
Notice she said that's almost half of the internet population. Just know it is common to hear both. Yes, some speakers drop it, including myself. Sometimes I pronounce it. There's really no reason why, so get comfortable with hearing both. It may be personal preference, it may be regional, it may be a formal versus informal situation. Now let's review some more silent T words with the NT spelling. We just learned internet, internet, internet. Another common NT word is interview or interview.
People could relate to because most people had been through was the job interview.
Because remember, it's common to hear both. Interview, interview. So listen to this clip and you tell me if the T is pronounced or isn't pronounced.
Well, with International Being You Day coming up on May 22nd.
What did you hear? In this clip, the speaker didn't pronounce the T. Another common word is center or center. Let's listen to the clip.
According to the Center for Disease Control.
What did you hear? The speaker didn't pronounce the T. 20 with the T or 20 without the T is another NT word. Here's the clip.
And you're traveling at 120 kilometers an hour.
What did you hear? The speaker didn't pronounce the T. Let's review counter or counter, counter. Listen to the clip.
And certainly not in opinions that run counter to his own.
The speaker didn't pronounce the T. Let's review printer, printer, without the T, printer. Here's the clip.
Many routine things at work, like purchasing a printer.
In this clip, the speaker pronounced the T, printer, printer. Now let's review the word mountain, or how an American would commonly say it, mountain, mountain. Did you hear that? This is called a glottal stop, which is a brief pause in your vocal cords. It's not a D sound, it's not mountain, it's not a D, and it's not dropped altogether. It's a that's the glottal stop. Now, again, you are not required to pronounce it with the glottal stop, but just get comfortable with understanding it when natives will definitely pronounce it with the glottal stop. So the guideline is you use the glottal stop when you have a stressed vowel, then T, then an unstressed syllable, and ending in N. So you can think of it as words that commonly end in tin. But just like the NT spelling, it's common to hear both in everyday English. And it's common to pronounce the T in more formal English because the glottal stop does sound more casual, relaxed. Let's listen to a clip with the T pronounced in mountain. Mountain.
From the lake, take the short drive up Signal Mountain.
Let's listen to a clip with the T pronounced as the glottal stop. It will sound like mountain, mountain, mountain.
Those at the top of the mountain are not victims.
Let's do another listening test. You need to identify if the T is fully pronounced or if it's a glottal stop. Let's listen now.
Please press the subscribe button.
The T in button was not pronounced. It sounded like button, button.
2.5-minute video called Dear Kitten, and Dear Kitten got 40 million views.
The T in kitten was not pronounced. It sounded like kitten, kitten.
It in the form of one lost glove or mitten.
The T in mitten was not pronounced. It sounded like mitten, mitten, or mittens with the plural, mittens.
All these flowers, we got a fountain.
The T in fountain was pronounced. It sounded like fountain, tin, fountain. If it weren't pronounced, if it were a glottal stop, it would sound like fountain, fountain. That's a pretty fountain.
Denim was constructed as a sturdy cotton weave worn by sailors.
The T in cotton wasn't pronounced. It sounded like cotton, cotton.
The first business plan I've ever written that actually came true.
The T in written wasn't pronounced. It sounded like written, written.
She had come from the Manhattan New School.
The T in Manhattan wasn't pronounced. It sounded like Manhattan, Manhattan. Now listen to this word, hustle, hustle. You'd better hustle, you'd better hustle. Notice here the T is not pronounced. It's not a soft D, it's not a glottal stop, it's completely silent. This is because the T is there in spelling, but not pronunciation. And the rule is you never pronounce a silent T. It's correct pronunciation to pronounce the T even though it's commonly reduced or dropped in certain words, like certain, or you can turn this into the glottal stop and say certain, certain. But it's incorrect to pronounce the T in silent T words. It is always wrong to say hustle, tull. That is incorrect pronunciation because it's a silent T. The pronunciation always is hustle, hustle. Let's review the most common silent T words. Of course, hustle, and then the pair with hustle is bustle, bustle.
A world away from the hustle and bustle of the city outside.
The hustle and bustle. This is a phrase that refers to the noise and activity. Now please listen to these words with a silent T. Did you notice that the T in listen isn't pronounced? It's never pronounced because it's a silent T. Did you renew your mortgage? Mortgage, silent T. I moistened the towel for you. Your forehead is glistening, glistening, which means shining lightly because of sweat. You need to soften the butter, bu-d-d-der. But remember, with a silent T, it's not pronounced at all. Please fasten your seatbelt. We visited an amazing castle. What's causing the leaves to rustle? So that noise the leaves make when they're moving in the wind or when there's an animal going through them. I don't know how to whistle. That is true. Be careful, there are some thistles in the garden. A thistle is something when you touch it, you say ow because it's sharp and it hurts your finger. The kids love to wrestle. Now you have many common words where Americans don't pronounce the T in some situations and some in all situations. Do you want to keep learning advanced pronunciation so you sound fluent and natural? If you do, put let's go, put let's go in the comments. And of course, make sure you like this lesson, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And here's another lesson I know you'll love. Watch it now.